It's the Abba podcast. Let's go. And the next guest on the podcast is 2010 Premiership winner, Jamie Soward. How you going, Jamie?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Thanks for having me on the pod.
Nah, thanks for coming on, mate. So speak to us. How's the new year starting? Any new ventures going on this year?
I've been pretty busy with obviously with two little girls, but yeah, just slowly starting to get things in order for 2021. So I've been working at the Dragons since November with the halves and kicking and stuff like that. So that's probably the first thing to start back. But in terms of new ventures, I got my podcast. I got two podcasts that will be back this year. Sweet and Sour podcast, where I just talk a little bit of NRL, a little bit of AFL, but pretty much just get on there and talk a bit of shit and banter. And the other one is Short and Sour on Mondays, which just wraps up the NRL from week to week. So yeah, I think with that, with kids, and then once the NRL gets back underway for 8 months of the year, I'm pretty full on. So I've got a radio show down in Wollongong that's on Saturdays from 1 till 4 that I've really enjoyed getting to that mainstream media. But my season or my work season sort of starts in February and goes right through to the end of October. So not many people get to see me on weekends after that starts.
That's good, mate. Busy is good. So post-retirement, how's that transition into the coaching, into the media? Is your first season as an assistant at the Dragons?
Yeah, that's right. I clearly don't train in retirement. I enjoy I enjoy time with my family and when I'm not working and playing with them. But the transition into assistant coach this year, or being a consultant role, was actually based off working with Anthony Griffin the last 2 years at 2GB. On a Saturday night, we'd get in there and talk footy and talk about what we saw in games, what we saw in players, and I'd sort of joked about when he got a coaching role that I wanted to be a part of that. And once it came to fruition, I was able to get that role, and I've really enjoyed it because I feel like I've got a lot to contribute to players, and to be back at a club where I won a premierships, obviously that the worlds are aligning. But I'm enjoying working with elite talent. I've worked with kids for the last 10 years since I was at the Dragons. So to be in that elite circuit and working with those guys and seeing how those guys still develop their game and something like that, I really enjoy.
So it's a familiar scene. It's not like you're foreign to that. You weren't there too long ago. Explain to us how your relationship with Griffin's grown over the years. Your time at Penrith was a bit, hot and cold. How'd working at 2GB help that, and how did you look past what could have been said in previously?
Yeah, I think I spoke pretty openly about when I was at Penrith. I was dealing with a lot of stuff outside of footy, which probably made me into the person that I wasn't actually that person, or the person I am now. So, dealing with mental health issues, divorce, a body that had broken down, 3 back surgeries. So, everyone's got a hard luck story, and everyone's got stories about when the chips have been down. But when I worked with Anthony, he was trying to get some young guys in there, and Nathan Cleary was coming through, and I was sort of trying to hold on to my spot, and like I said, dealing with the rest of that stuff as well. So we probably didn't see eye to eye, and I wasn't the person that I am now off the back of going away and maturing. And if I was the person I am now 5 years ago when I was with Hook, then I would have probably not still been playing, but definitely we would have had a lot more success together. I probably would have finished out my career at Penrith. But I think that going away and rugby league's a small world, but there's always chances for redemption. And Anthony and I, the first time at 2GB, I was actually really nervous because I didn't know. I'd written a few things, and I'd sort of said a few things about the Panthers attack, and I think that he could have easily just not listen to that, but he doesn't listen to that stuff. He knows that everyone's got a job to do and everyone's got an opinion, and sometimes we forget that. We forget that people in the media, or people, players and stuff like that, everyone's got a job to do. So, I don't feel like a player should take it personally if I come out and been critical of their game or rap their game too much. That to me, that shouldn't worry anyone, because it didn't worry me too much when I was playing, only certain occasions. But Anthony was good enough to get there. And like I said, the half hour every Saturday night before we called the game for 2GB was some of the best footy chats that I've had ever, because it was honest. There's no bullshit, and we could talk openly about players and what we saw and what we liked in the game. And more often than not, we actually saw the game the same way, which is why it hurt so much that I wasn't in a better position mentally when he was the coach of the Panthers.
See, but it speaks volumes about yourself that you went back, you sat on the table, you reconciled, you let bygones be bygones, because it's not about how much you get, how down you are, it's how you bounce back. And it showed that you guys are both, mature and professionals in the industry that you're in at the moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. And like I said, people make mistakes. No one goes out to make a mistake. It's about what you do next and how you recover from that. And for me, like I said, I didn't apologise for what I said at the time. I've learned from that, and I still believe in that. That's why I've been successful, is I've been able to come out and give my opinion in the media without going to bed worrying about what's going to be said about me, because I've usually been in those situations. But for Anthony to give me an opportunity to work at the Dragons, and he knows that he knows how I see the game, and that's if anything, I was probably at the interview table for 2 years rather than trying to prove to him that I knew things and that I could help the team. Every week that we worked together, essentially I was interviewing for a job next time he got a head coaching job. So I'm very grateful for that, but I also understand that that I have a unique skill set that I need to be able to bring to the table to improve those guys, and that's the responsibility that's on my shoulders. So hopefully I'm doing that.
Yeah, no, that's true. Mate, talk about the improvement of the fellas. You've got in the halves, you got Hunt and Norman, and you got some up and coming youngsters coming through the ranks. So far, what are you seeing, and how do you feel the transition into the coaching is working for you guys?
Yeah, I think the first thing I was concerned about was, I've played against Ben and Corey, and they're two elite guys who have been in the game a long time now and played at the highest level. So I wanted to make sure that I was going in not to reinvent how they kick the footy or how they see the game, but to see the game through their eyes so that I can understand how to help them make better decisions when the game's on. So, Ben just came back this last week and he was exceptional. His attitude was really good. He was open, he was talkative and providing feedback. And as a coach, you want that. You want that feedback from those older guys. Corey was leading by example, all preseason. When he was the oldest guy there, he never, as basic as the drill was, he never ever once made me feel like that I wasn't helping their game, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to win a premiership, and that's what you're remembered for. You go into clubs, you do appearances, you do podcasts, and the first thing that they say is premiership winner, and that's so important. And we want to get back to, not straight away. It might take time, but the ultimate goal is to get the Dragons back in that top 8 and fighting for a championship. So those two guys have been really good, which makes my job easier, because then the younger guys fall into line and follow, and they've got some exceptional talent down there. I mean, Adam Clune last year, 15 games, real steady improver. And, that was just in his first season. And you can see the jump that he's made under new coach, new ideas. Jaden Sullivan, Junior Amone, these are two young guys that were successful in the juniors at the Dragons or Illawarra. And, just working with those guys, you can see that they start to see the game. And that's the reward I get. I mean, everyone wants to win every week, but unfortunately it has to be a winner and loser. But in terms of my role, I need to see improvement. I need to see understanding of what we want to get out of their game so that their game goes to the next level, because if their game goes to the next level and they're making the right decisions, then more often than not, your team's in the position to win the game. So, for me, it's a bit of a dream run. I go down there and run my own race. I don't have, Hook sort of said to me, it's, you're down here to do a job, better than anyone about kicking. So, I'm not going to stand over your shoulder and watch. He just comes out, says hello, and we talk about the family, and then he goes back up and, watches from the office. So, I think things are going okay at the moment.
Ah, that's great, mate. It sounds like the chemistry is good, and we're looking onwards and upwards for the Dragons in 21. As an ex-player, how do you relate with the pressures that especially Ben Hunt and Corey Norman towards the back end of last season are going through? Constant scrutiny, the pay's always in the media, and the responsibility that they have on the team eventually getting the results every week.
Yeah, firstly on the pay thing, I think we too often look at, yes, the results are dictated by how much you get paid. That's in any job. But Ben came off contract at the right time, and I don't think I've never ever counted another person's money. I think that's, you get as much money as you can while you can for your family and for yourself. So, every time Dragons fans or fans bring that up, I find it quite ridiculous. He may not be playing up to that $1.2 million price tag, but he's going out there and busting his balls every week and trying to win. So the constant scrutiny those two guys have been under, look, I don't think it phases them too much, to be honest. There's some guys that read the media, some guys that don't, and those two guys wouldn't, I don't think, pick up a paper too much. They just need to concentrate on what they can do for the team and how to get themselves prepared for a game. So having played at the Dragons and understanding how passionate that red bee base can be, but also how quickly it can turn, is one of the best things of playing for the Dragons. You understand that they are so loyal, that they care so much, but they also want to win as well. So those two guys, I don't think are fazed too much by media speculation and everything like that. It's, again, back to that point, everyone's got a job to do and everyone's got articles to write and stuff like that. So I think as a player, you probably only get pissed off or upset about the real personal ones. That throughout my career, I felt like there was unwarranted attention or unwarranted articles brought upon myself by certain people that had never met me, had never ever talked to me, and essentially not even taking the time to know who I am away from the game. And that's why I have a good relationship with people in the media now, because they've seen me away from playing footy. They've seen me away from the stresses of trying to win games, and that's the person that I am. So sometimes I think in the media we can do more to get to know the players, so that if they do have a bad game, of course they understand we've got to do our job, but we can probably close that gap and be a little bit more welcoming, so that they can get their story out a lot more.
That's true. I couldn't imagine the pressures you guys are under. You look at players like Hunt, Normie. You look at people like Johns and Fitler. They've come out on Friday in the 8th and they've said, if you're getting paid X amount of dollars, you need to be contributing to at least 70% of the win rate. And when it's not happening, especially when you look at mental health and the struggles of life on and off the field, you kind of sort of sympathise. And especially I feel the ex-players, I think, need the onus on themselves to understand they were once in that position. And especially when the pay's continuously in the media, I think it's unfair. Like you're saying, it's something that I don't blame them for not looking into the media or reading the articles and stuff.
I think the players, the ex-players get it because they've been there. And that 70% of the win, they're probably right. I mean, it's two fair judges, but I think the articles that come from outside sources all the time, referring straight to that pay straight away, that's the one that I can't understand. Everyone's going to have a bad game. No one, Jonathan Thurston, Andrew Johns, Brad Fitler, they've all had bad games. So, you're right. We do need to be careful in the media, but also the players need to be careful as well, because if you keep shutting out the media, who essentially pay a lot of the bills, if not all of them, with fans, then when it comes to that article that you maybe you don't want to get out, or you sort of want to, you need a little bit of a break because you are having a bit of a rough period off field and you're not playing great. They've got to do their job, and sometimes some people see it as blood in the water, but I'd like to think that we're closing the gap a little bit on that player-media relationship.
Yeah, I agree. So I think, especially with the new TV deal and the unprecedented access that we're getting at the moment, I feel that the gap is slowly but surely closing. So, Jamie, let's bring it back a bit about your playing career. You started in 2005, coming up in the Roosters rank in the Jersey flag. How was that coming up with the Roosters?
Yeah, well, I played in Canberra under Michael Maguire in 2003, and didn't really know what was next, and then got a chance to come to Sydney and play with the Sydney Roosters, and I was on $10,000 looking for an opportunity. Ended up becoming captain of that Jersey flag side, and the next 5 months were great because we didn't lose a game. So I thought coming to Sydney was easy. We didn't lose a game. We won 28 straight, I think it was, so including the grand final. But it was tough after that. Made my debut in 2005, May 8th, and next morning, my father had a heart attack. So that transition from winning every week in Jersey flag to first grade probably took a little bit longer to establish myself, and that's probably 05, 06 when the Roosters had come off the back of 3 grand finals. That was really tough because they wanted success. They needed success because they'd been there, but we had a bunch of young guys coming through who were still learning how to be first graders, and I was dealing with my own stuff as well. So it was good at the Roosters. I always tell people when I shook hands with Nathan Brown about leaving the Roosters in 2007, Chris Anderson gave me a call and wanted me to stay after playing one game that year, and Nick Politis had given his word that I wasn't given an opportunity and that I could go to the Dragons, and he stood by that, and I was able to make the move to the Dragons halfway through 2007.
Yeah, so the Roosters are very, as we can tell with Nick Politis and the likes in the boardroom, very professional sporting organisation. With that comes a lot of pressure. Now, there's a young Jamie Soward. Can you relate with a young Kyle Flanagan who played one season this season and almost wasn't wanted to see out his own contract?
Yeah, it's funny with Kyle because he couldn't win either way, really. Like, if he comes in and they win the Premiership, they win 3 in a row. Well, they've been there the 2 years before that, and he probably doesn't get the credit he deserves. And I thought he had an exceptional year. It's just that there's more to the story about, they're trying to get one more Premiership, I think, with this last sort of little roster that they've got. Jared Rea-Hargreaves, the Morrises, Teddy's in his prime, but Jake Friend, these guys have all, Boyd Cordner, they've all played a lot of footy, and they want to try and maximise that. So as a business, there's 2 ways you can look at it. As a business, they're trying to get the best team that they can on the field every week, which everyone does. They've got a young halfback in Sam Walker. Lachlan Lamb was there a long time before Kyle Flanagan came to the club, and he won the battle fair and square. But the other side of it is the players and the fans we don't understand, and I actually think it'll be the best move for Kyle going to the Bulldogs and working with Trent Barrett, and he gets a chance to probably express himself a little bit more. But Roosters made a business decision. You got to respect that, and that's why Roosters and Melbourne have been in 50 or 60% of the grand finals the last 15 years. So we've too often we think it sucks as a player, but you also know that when you're a player, you sign the contract for a shitload of money, and you sign for an opportunity, and sometimes it's going to go against you. I didn't finish a contract my whole career, even at the Dragons. Didn't even finish a contract. So it's brutal, but you also understand that if you're playing well and you're winning and doing all that kind of stuff, then you don't give the team an option. But it was a tough one, but unfortunately both ways. I think both ways will end up winning in the end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's a cutthroat industry at the end of the day. Like you said, I think the fans and even anyone can relate to such a thing in any profession, not just rugby league circle. Yeah. So we move on from the Roosters. handshake deal with Nathan Brown. How was that transition from the Roosters to the Dragons?
Yeah, good. It was pretty good. In 2007, I think we obviously missed the 8. They had a fair few injuries. 2008, I hurt my back the last couple, I think it was 6 weeks out, and we made the finals, and I didn't get the chance to play in the finals. So, but I'd already known that Wayne Bennett was coming to the club halfway through the year. So, when Wayne got to the club, that transition for me became the best move of my career. It was the hardest pre-season, but also the most enjoyable pre-season because I had someone there that not only cared about me on field, but for the first time in my career, cared about me away from the game. And, as someone that lost their father at a young age, I needed someone to help guide me through that stuff away from the game. If I'd had a bad game and I was going home thinking about it or not, I needed someone to be able to understand, to put it in perspective for me. And that was Wayne. So, when he got there, 3 years, I don't think I've played much better than those 3 years. So, sure, I had some bad games, but the transition to the Dragons became the best move of my career.
So talk to us a bit more about Wayne. When you look at coaches, they're either perfect player managers where they know how to manage and the affairs of the players on and off the field, or you look at the either tactical geniuses. Where does Wayne fit? Is there a mix between the two? And how do you feel your game grew under Wayne Bennett on and off the field?
Yeah, I think it's a mix. It's understanding when to kick someone in the ass and understanding when to give them a cuddle. I tell the story. I'd played Origin in 2011 and we'd lost 4 in a row coming out of it. And Wayne and the senior group sat me down and said, "We're going to drop you this week. Not rest you, drop you." And I was like crying. I was like, I just played Origin a month ago, and went home and cried and then come to training the next morning and got in nice and early and went up and saw the coach and he said, what's going on? And I said, "I'm playing this week." And he goes, "Good. Go and get your boots on. This is where's this guy been that was confident and wanted to be here and all that kind of stuff." And I didn't have my best game that weekend, but we won and turned things around. So that sort of understanding of when to motivate people, but also tactically when to come in. Think about the grand final. Think about how we executed that first try for Gaz, and that's Wayne. That's all Wayne. So my game grew to an understanding of what I was good at, how to make the best out of what I was good at, and work hard on the things that I wasn't good at. So I think too often we neglect the things that we're really, really good at because we're always trying to work on our bad stuff, but we forget what got us there. My kicking game got me to the NRL. My speed got me to the NRL. My passing game got me to the NRL. And I probably neglected that because all I kept hearing was can't tackle, needs to run the ball, misses tackles, too light, not, all that kind of stuff. And, Wayne made me realise that if I practice what I'm good at and make that the best that I can be for the team, then, the rest of the stuff we'll help you with and we'll get it done.
So speak about that. So Wayne comes to the club, you work on what you got to work on. It ends up turning into a 2010 Premiership. How was 2010? How was the grand final? How's being a player that's achieved such a milestone?
Yeah, well, I think like doing it for the Dragons, so many great players have worn those jerseys and, won before so many times. And to win at a big club like that, I think sort of put the icing on the cake. But I've always wanted to win a championship and, have the Premiership ring. And for me, being a big American sports fan, they remember you for how many premierships or how many championships you've won. So it was an amazing year in 2010. I thought that as a team, a really good team. We may not have had the superstars that the Roosters and the Melbourne have had the last whatever years and stuff like that, but as a team, I thought we were the best team that year. And over that 3-year stretch, we probably left one on the table. We probably should have won it in 2011, I thought. But, through whatever happened, 2010 is always a special time. And I'm proud and always never shy away from the fact how proud I am that I won a premiership.
Yeah, you won it in 2010, but 2009 you win Daily M58 of the year. How did that feel to get that individual accolade? So we know the team one is the pinnacle, but how was 2009 for you?
Bit of a blur, to be honest. It was one of those years where, like, I was just super fit, and the ball just found a way into my hands. Like, I don't even know. Sometimes, I wasn't. If I look back at the highlights of that year, like, the situation just became right for me pretty much all the time. So, struggled in the finals, my first final series, learnt some real valuable lessons out of that, and were able to correct that the year later. But 2009, winning the individual awards, is always nice. But I think that year, probably the most important award for me, or one that I'm proud of that I don't really speak about, is actually the Proven Summons Award. So, that's voted by the fans as their favourite or best player that year. And as someone that was hated by a lot of people, I think that it was pretty cool to win that. So I think Hindmarsh had won it the last 5 years. So it was nice to be able to get that in my kit bag, which is good.
Talking about the sticky stuck up, Jamie, mate. Do you think it was mostly because of your goal kicking technique? It seemed like you were having a piece at the opposition team, you know? I know it's rhythm and stuff, but other people, I remember going to the games, it looks like you're taking the mickey out of everyone, slowing it down, and you'd always get it over the black dot too.
Yeah, I liked winding the fans up, warm up and stuff like that, but I didn't really, I didn't give a toss about the fans. So I think that the best players in our game get hate because their other teams' fans are worried about them beating them. So I always thought it was a bit of a compliment when fans booed me and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You don't have to look too far other than Cameron Smith. Geez, that fella can't do anything wrong. If he does something good, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. He's a referee. He runs a game. He coaches a team. He can't do nothing right, Cam.
That's right.
So, you can't, perception isn't reality. If they're booing you, it's a good thing, I think. I don't think you're far off that. So,
100%.
So speak to us. You didn't see out the contract with the Dragons. You go on to the Penrith Panthers. Talk about that transition into a club that was looking into a premiership window as well.
It was tough. I wanted to stay at the Dragons. They offered me 1 year. They had Gareth Widdop coming. I thought that would have been a pretty good partnership, but that wasn't to be. And Penrith offered me 4, so I went to England for a couple of months, which just was off the advice of, there's no point going mid-year because Penrith were actually going really well that year. Came to the Panthers and, was overweight pretty much the whole pre-season, but just felt really, really comfortable out there. Played some really good footy. We kept losing guys, but we had a really good squad that year, and we had some real core values that we didn't waver from. So, we got to a prelim final, which hurts a little bit because we probably, I don't know if we would have beaten South, but we probably didn't pack our best game for that appearance against the Dogs in 2014. And, we'd had the emotion of knocking off the Roosters in that first week so dramatically. So, I enjoyed my time out at Penrith. I think that I probably learned more about myself and about life than I did about footy. And, for me, that time is a real turning point in my life. Like I said, in 2015, going through all that stuff and, meeting my wife, and, her and going through the other stuff as well. So, I think that's, for me, Penrith is remembered as a real turning point as Jamie Soward the person, not Jamie Soward the footballer.
Oh, man, and that's all the evolution of life. That's the most important lesson that you take out of the Penrith debacle. Is there anything you would have done different at the Penrith Panthers? Do you see that potentially playing out that contract? Because you were on big money contract that you didn't see. Is that something that you ever think of, ponder on, or do you take the lessons out of it and say, look, I'm a better person for it. Money comes and goes. I'm happy with the decisions I've made.
I wasn't on as big a contract as what everyone thought I was. There's wingers in the game that are earning more than me that were in my biggest contract. So that was a huge myth.
Okay.
But I left the last year of my contract on the table to leave to be a better person, to be a better boyfriend at the time, soon turned husband, soon turned father, because if I had stayed around and played reserve grade just to collect the paycheck, I wouldn't have been able to go into the media after that off the back of the season in reserve grade. Plus, mentally, I just wouldn't have been able to do it. So going to England and finishing out the year there and being able to just come back and retire, I don't have any regrets. Sure, you want to do things differently. Some, maybe a kick here or there, or meet a different person at a different time in life. But everything that I went through and the decisions that I made got me to the point where I am now, which is really lucky, beautiful, loving wife, two amazing daughters, and just enjoying life. Working hard and enjoying life. I think that if you can get to that point at your life in some stage, then you've done pretty good.
I think that's the most important thing, mate. Money can't buy happiness, and it can't really buy what you've got, mate. Jamie, kudos to you, honestly, as a mentor, as a coach. That actually helps you now with the players, because they can you can practically relate to every situation that they're going through on a day-to-day basis. How does that responsibility affect how you go about your work with the club and with the players?
Yeah, I think that going through all of that, if I wanted to be a coach eventually, will help me, because I've been in every situation. I've kicked the match winner, I've missed the kick to win the game. I've been through a divorce, I've had kids, I've done pretty much everything you can do on both sides of the fence. So I just try and relate to people for who they are and listen to their situation. And if I can help and not make it about what I went through, but also help from the advice of what I did in those situations, then it's almost like coaching at the moment with the Dragons. You get to a certain point of the field, what kick would we do? How would we do this? Why are we doing this? When should we do the next kick? That can be translated in life as well. So, I think I've got a bit of a leg up when I talk about things. And that's the thing in the media. A lot of people think I'm a dickhead and all that kind of stuff. And I don't really know what I'm talking about. But, I've been through a lot on and off and understand the game. So, I think that it's going to give me a huge leg up going forward.
Yeah, 100%, mate. You've got the stripes to speak, and your actions speak for themselves. You've come through it, and you've come up to the other side. Not many people can say or do what you've done. Jamie, that's actually an honour, mate. Well done. No, you're welcome. I'm just stating facts, man. You're actually someone who's contributing, giving back. You've been through it. You could always play the victim card, but instead you're coming out and you're giving out positive energy, reinforcing and reassuring the players and the staff, and even the fans like myself, and people that are looking up to you, that there's always another side to it. And it's not about how hard you get hit, it's how you get up. And you've dusted yourself up, and geez, onwards and upwards, mate. It's only the start, Jamie. It's only the start.
Thanks, mate.
No, you're welcome. So then we look at your time now coaching. What is something that you instill in your players? So if someone's playing under Jamie Soward, what are the core values that they have to have, or what are the things that you don't tolerate?
Good question. I think that trust your first instinct was something that Wayne sort of passed down that I liked. The first decision is usually the best. You change your mind, then you probably get yourself into trouble. So, core values, I think it's got to be both ways. I ask from the guys at the Dragons, any feedback, suggestions. You have that two-way rapport with your players, then you're going to get just as much out of them as you're giving them information. So, I haven't been in charge of a full team yet, but I don't like saying the same thing over and over again. I'd rather you try and listen the first time, and then don't change it. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. So there's not too much at the moment. I'm pretty cruisy, but we haven't I haven't been in charge of a full team yet, so I don't know what that'd be like if I was coaching. I'd lost a couple of games. It might be a bit different.
So is coaching something that you wish to see yourself do in the future?
Nah, not at this stage. Maybe an assistant, I think, would be a bit more my pace. I enjoy my family time a lot. and I don't want to give that up and age overnight. All these coaches age overnight, so I don't want to coach at the moment. I'm happy working with. I've got some individuals and kids, 15, 16-year-old kids that I work with a little bit, and just continue to do that and the dragon stuff.
So, what's the secret with Wayne? How's Wayne done it for so long? What do you think the secret's there?
Oh man, he just gets it. He just gets it. You hear players talk about how much he loves the boys and how much he understands life, and that's a huge asset for someone that may be going through a bit of shit off field who's not playing good. And as I said earlier, it's about finding that balance so that you can get the best out of your player when it comes under the bright lights.
That's true, mate. I was at the gym, Alexander Volkanovski's gym last week, and you could have sworn his head coach, Joe Lopez, and himself, they were giving it back and forth. And when it was time to train, we knew who boss was. But I could relate sort of what you're saying with Wayne in the dressing room, just watching him, how he held the training session and how that unique relationship that they have, give and take. It's something that you have to see to appreciate.
Certainly do. And, having spent some time with Alex, you can understand that, people don't get to be the best by, they do by talent and hard work and all that kind of stuff, but listening and learning along the way is part of the journey. And sometimes at some stage throughout Alex's championship reign and whatever, he's not the smartest person. The coach is the smartest person at some stage. And there might be other times where Alex is the smartest person and the coach has to listen. So if you can get that balance right, you're going to go a long way.
So you've been in the professional scene for, almost your whole life. How do you feel that the ego of a player when he starts to see success and get that big money contract or even break through into first grade? Do you feel that there's a certain level where it changes a person or it reveals certain things that maybe weren't seen previously? And how do you feel the game and the club, and what's the responsibility on the people inside to try and help these people?
Yeah, I actually think it's a personal choice. I don't think the clubs, within the dressing room, the players will pin you down pretty quickly, peg you down a couple of pegs, take you down a couple of pegs. So, I have no doubt that everyone changes. If you've got $100 and I don't, you're going to change it regardless. So, it's about understanding, what your core values are as a person, and if they waver, then you need someone to help you get back on track. So, I don't really know if it's up to the clubs or the coaches or whatever. It's a lot of things that have to happen. If that's happening with a player, usually, they get brought down pretty quickly by coaches, players, and stuff like that. So, I don't think it's changed. I don't think it's too much of an issue. It happens. Everyone likes a bit of fame, regardless of what they say. So, it's totally different now because of social media, and that's one thing that you probably could be taking your own responsibility of.
Yeah, no, that's something that a lot of people, especially to keep the chemistry and keep the dressing room, it's something that you always have to be aware of, especially with social media. And losing the dressing room is actually a big thing. And I'm a Newcastle Knights fan, and you can only imagine what's happening at the club now with Mitchell Pearce and the scandals that are going on. As a player, and as an ex-player and an analyst, what's your perspective on such incidences like that?
Yeah, I think the first thing is that Mitchell's the leader of that club. He's a captain, or he was the captain, and in a team that's trying to establish their culture. And he's made a mistake in his personal life, and I don't think that the personal life stuff, that's just a mistake that he's made. So he has to deal with that off field as well. In terms of a dressing room, I think you'll find that the players, after they sit down and talk with the leadership group and the coaches and stuff like that, at the end of the day, I would hate for a Newcastle fan or player to blame missing the 8 or missing or playing bad on this scandal, or not scandal, like situation. So I think that it's important to realise that, if I'm in that situation, I need to realise that as a professional, I'm paid to play footy and do a job. And sure, emotions are going to be running high, and whatever happens, happens. But I'm paid to do a job, and that's what the Newcastle Knights need to realise is they're up there to try and win footy games, and not everything's perfect. There's adversity at the moment within Mitchell's life, and I'm sure he'll get through it. And I'm sure that those guys will come together and get on with it. But you need to remember individually that you're paid to win, to be the best footy player that you can be, so that you can win games.
That's true, but it also comes with you're also a public figure and a public servant. So there are kids looking up to you in some sort of an imagination. So you do have a responsibility to the fans to a certain extent to not abuse your the spotlight that you potentially do have. But it's a tough one because you look at the privacy of what's happened and you're like, shouldn't really be in the media, should it? Shouldn't it? It's a tough one.
Well, I think again, everyone has a job to do, and I think parents are your role models. You treat people and judge people how your parents bring you up, and if you're looking to Mitchell Pearce or Jamie Soward or whatever as a role model, then you can have heroes, you can have people that you want to be like, but role models are your parents, and I strongly believe in that. I'm not going to be raising my daughters to try and have role model. Her role, I want her to sit down, or Indiana and Ivy to sit down, or whatever they choose to do, and say that they're heroes with their mum and dad, and their role models with their mum and dad, not some sports star or movie star or anything like that.
I agree, mate, but that's based on the upbringing that you guys are going to have to bring them up and the challenges that you guys are going to have to face. But the reality of is, in the era of social media and how society's gone in this day and age, it's not really reality, because you look at the people like the Kardashians, like, for good heavens, the amount of money and the publicity that these people get, it's not really warranted based on the lifestyle that they've adopted, so to speak. And
I've watched the Kardashians, so I think it's a nice mix of reality and actual, regardless of what everyone thinks of them, their hustle is real. And
that's true, but the people are looking up to them. You got their kids. The kids are all looking up to certain figures, so they also do have a responsibility to, to be public figures in a sense. Because even if you look at Kim,
disagree. My responsibility is the hustle and to get money for the girls, and if that's promoting, if I make a decision that affects them, then that's on me. That's not on.
Oh no, that's true. That's true. But even if you look at Kim Kardashian, if we're using the Kardashians as an example, she's going to get a law degree to try and give back to people. So she also sees that she has some sort of responsibility with the notoriety, the fame she has, to give back and help others. She actually got one of the girls out from prison in America, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm sure Mitchell has given a lot back to people.
Oh no, this is not about Mitchell. Yeah, no, 100%. It's not definitely not about Mitchell. No, I was just saying about the exposure and responsibility that they have. Like, once you're getting paid that money because of the TV deals and TV rights, your life is going to be torn apart. Like, they're going to look into everything.
Yeah, I get that. I think it's I cringe every time I hear a story. But people make mistakes, and hopefully the people understand that your mistake doesn't just cost you; it could cost your whole club.
That's true. And Tyson Frizzell, there's talks that he might be the captain of the Newcastle Knights. Have you had any interactions? Do you think that he's a leader? And they say that he could have been and should have been a captain at the Dragons potentially.
Yeah, I tweeted that out the other day. I felt like I thought he would have been at the captain of the Dragons a long time ago. Fantastic leader, goes about his work, doesn't have to rant and rave. I think it'll be up to whether he wants to do it. I think it's an easy fix for the Newcastle Knights.
Coming into a new club, what is the pressure of coming in and fitting in and getting to know the new systems and the coaching ways? Do you feel it's a bit much to come in first season captain, or is that a transition that he can make smoothly?
No, best person for the job should get the job. I believe that a person like that that's played for Australia in the last 5-6 years, played New South Wales, has been around, he typifies leadership. And if you brought him there as your marquee player for 2021, then what's the difference? It's, at the end of the day, captain just has more responsibility. He's got to go out and do more things outside of footy. So it's up to you. It's not I think if you've got a strong leadership group, a good coaching staff, the captaincy is a nice badge of honour. But there's a lot more work that comes with it as well. So I think it'd be the perfect candidate.
Yeah, no, Newcastle, we've had Trent Hodkinson came into the club, first season captain, Mitchell Pearce, same story. So it wouldn't be foreign to Newcastle if Tyson Frizzell gets captaincy this season. So, Jamie, they tell me you're one of the quickest men over 40 metres. Are you gonna bust the myth or what, mate? In pre-season, who was clocking the quickest time over 40 or 50?
I don't know. I wouldn't be now. I don't know. I think, just open spaces. I found myself in the right situation. But I don't know if I was the quickest. The outside backs, Brett Morris was pretty quick. But Gus sort of just said that once and then it stuck with for a little while. So, it's always fun.
Your relationship with Gus went before and after football. How have you felt that relationship grow?
Yeah, well, I think Gus is, when I was out at Penrith, he was there for me through a lot of that stuff that I went through. So being able to get to this stage now and be comfortable with, the person that I am and being a stable home and be a proud father and husband, I think that, Gus certainly had a lot to do with that while I was at Penrith. So I know that, there's a lot of people that don't talk every day, but I've got a lot of people in my life that if I needed to pick up the phone or send him a text or call him, that he would be able to pick up the phone or call me back. So I feel really great to be able to have met, two of the probably best thinkers in the game's history in Wayne and Gus.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. Life's all about networking, and to have those relationship and ties that have continued and, to be such positive relationships. I feel it's a testament to both you and the Gus and Wayne, and it's something that's actually, like you said, two of the best minds in the modern era. So, Jamie, football aside, mate, what are we looking at? You told me you like American sports. What are the sports that you follow religiously? I can see the basketball behind you.
Yeah. Obviously Boston Celtics in the NBA. New Orleans Saints. I'm actually trying to get the last little bit of the playoffs at the moment, so I'll have to go in a minute. But it's I just love the fact that American sport, the way they cover it, the way that their sports people are appreciated, the way that they are themselves and are allowed to be themselves, versus probably in Australia where everyone has to be a great guy. You can't be different. You can't be confident within yourself because it's built up as locker room and all that kind of stuff. So I enjoy the show that the American sports people put on with everything that they do. So huge time. Whenever I get time to be able to relax, it's good when the girls go to sleep because ESPN is all on all night, so I get to be able to catch up on all the sport over there.
No, mate, Jamie, look, it was an honour and a privilege to have you on. Thanks for coming. We don't want you to miss too much of the game. We'll leave you to it. Jamie Soward, watch your space. He's doing some big things. He's on the radio. He's got his couple of podcasts that we'll put in the link below. And onwards and upwards for 2021, mate. Good luck with the season.
Thanks very much. I appreciate your time.
No, champion. Have a good one, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Take it. Bye.